We're talking tops
This idea that tops are boring, trash.
with my guest, Torrian B.
So for me, I need you to show up in your full, authentic self.
Are they toxic?
Tops are toxic, and that's what tops are.
And what do they want everybody
Don't
else to know?
let your mouth write a check. Your ass can't cash right now, bro.
It's going down tonight.
What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. It's funny because I hear, like, in my head, I hear applause when I say that. So I'm getting ready for TV. But what up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI, the Gentleman on IG. And welcome to Dear Black Gay Men Live. It's still our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional and sexual ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Now, we're having real conversations with real people live on the Dear Black Gay Men YouTube channel and the Dear Black Gay Men Insiders group. Last week, I talked to Jacques about kinks. The conversation it started out as about fetishes and fetish life, but it turned into this. Take a listen.
Most of the people I encounter are most of the people I encounter are bottoms, and I love bottoms. I don't meet a lot of full tops, and I feel like I don't know, y'all. I feel like full tops really don't exist. I feel like everybody's somebody's bottom.
Agreed.
They just not, disclosing. You know what I mean? Some people would like one person to top them and another person to bottom for it. Anyway.
So after that conversation, I had to find a top and figure out if they actually are a dying breed and they're going extinct. So my guest tonight is 1/3 of the Catch My Black and Gay podcast. You can download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, anywhere you get your podcasts. Please welcome to the show, Torrian B. The top.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Now, the funny thing is I'm calling you the top, but you're so much more than the top. I mean, you're like...
I appreciate that. I appreciate
person extraordinaire. You are person extraordinaire. You're him extraordinaire.
I appreciate that. I am many things. This is very true.
How important is being a top to you? Is it like top of consciousness?
No, which is why I don't say that I am a top. The way that I express it is that I top, right? Because usually in our community, top is an identity that's given to people, right? So if you're a top, you're supposed to present like this, look like this, talk like this, act like this, and I am not that person necessarily. So I say my sexual expression. No, I am not. Aren't? I mean, I have some tendencies. However, like I'm not gonna bust you in your shit, and like, I'm not overly aggressive. I prefer to be assertive. I prefer to let you know that like I stand firm in what I believe. But I am also very patient. I am also very kind. I also am considerate, and like I believe that it's important to see people, especially Black people. And I have a love for Black gay men. So for me, I need you to show up in your full, authentic self. And so that means I'm going to ask you some questions. I want to know what you think. I want to know how you feel. I want to know what pleases you in the bedroom. And so this idea that tops are boring, trash, because I'm not. Let me say that. I can't speak for anybody else. I statements.
Okay. Hold on. You said a whole lot of things.
I took you
There
fast.
was a whole lot of things. Now, the first thing that I hear is, are you saying that your understanding of what it means to be a top, it sounds like you're saying that is toxic. Like tops are toxic and that's what tops are. And that's why I'm not one of those.
The stereotype that's attached to the position of top is toxic. Absolutely. 100%.
You really?
Yes, absolutely. The way in which our community attaches power and attaches stereotypes to people who are tops, who express their sexual desires as topping, is very toxic. And the reverse is true too. The way in which people see bottoms in the community is also toxic.
And so if a top is, as you said, like this comment says, a top can be a gentleman and sensitive and caring and soft. So if a top is all those things, what do you say you are then?
I don't say anything. I say I'm Torrian. However, community would say I'm a soft top.
A soft top?
Yes, that's
the fuck is that?
What you just named, what that comment says, a top that is the gentleman, sensitive, caring, and soft. And come on, Jay, really? This is foreign to you?
This is absolutely foreign to me because I don't fuck with tops.
Well, then there you go.
So to that end, people would probably say I'm a soft top, even though I claim versatile. I believe that a top can be any of those things. It's just I think in my head, when you start saying I don't do's, I don't touch here, and see, that's when you get boring. I'm like, I can't.
Well, I do absolutely. I have agency over my body, and therefore I do have boundaries to what I am willing to do with
Let's
my
talk
body.
about that. Dear Black Gay Men Live is brought to you in part by
That's one of the reasons why I love her so much, because we can connect on so many levels like that.
Through her pictures, I was like, this girl is beautiful. I was like, good job.
Hit the notification bell because we're going live.
Like that's the least of my worries. The size.
Oh, I think relationships are becoming more complex.
Tuesday and Thursday every week.
Welcome to Dear Black Gay Men Live
at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Where is your boundary at?
I'm not being penetrated.
Physically.
I am not being penetrated, which is why I say I'm a top, because I'm not being penetrated.
Do you get your booty ate?
I love how this question always follows when I make that statement, because, and I'll tell you why it's interesting to me, because I used to think the same way that, oh, if you're a top and you tell me you'll let me eat your ass, game over, right? Like it's gonna happen, right? But the reality is I will only, and I think I was asked this question. So I was in the show last week commenting. And so a lot of the comments around being a full top, that was me. And so one of the persons asked the question, like, do I get my ass ate? And my response to that is, again, I'm all about boundaries. And so in a relationship, I've done it before, but it will never be a thing that I say, oh, do this. I want you to do this. I desire for you to do this. And only when my partner is very clear about my boundary that you doing this is not going to get you to penetrate me. It's just not. The same way that me falling in love with you is not going to make me do this.
But you know that just as sure as you said, it's funny how that question always follows the I don't get penetrated. Every time I ask somebody, do you get your booty? Every time I ask someone who tops primarily, do you get your booty ate? They think it's assumed to be some kind of gateway to getting fucked. And really, people like me just like eating that. Like I eat booty for me. You might enjoy it or not, but I do it for me, especially if it tastes good.
Same. I agree with you. I think for me though, I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it. What I'm saying is that it will require a certain level of intimacy and understanding for me and my partner. But now let's be clear. That's only a relationship. Outside of a relationship, you're not doing it. If it's just a hookup, you're not doing it. It's not happening.
And see, that's the shit I'm talking about with tops. With the second y'all be like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm like, now because what comes up in my head is, well, where does your boundary? It's like if I approach sex and I'm assuming that you want some dick, I want some ass, or vice versa, or whatever, then I'm assuming everything else is fair game. But the second you start ticking off the things that we can do, I'm like, this is too much thinking.
But see, I think the operative word in that statement is assuming. I don't make assumptions. So I am absolutely about having the conversation about what each other likes, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. And we create sexual pleasure around those things. I'm not going to assume, which is why up front I ask those questions. I am very clear about that. I'm very clear about asking those questions because I believe in clarity. That's my best friend. Clarity is my best friend.
Okay. Do you suck dick?
In the same way, that goes the same way. Now, I often tell people that I have seniority because back when
seniority.
I have seniority.
Oh, you were hired into the gay. You were hired into gay before I was, so you got more seniority than me.
Because
your days off get approved before mine do.
Essentially. But no, I really say that jokingly, and it really is a joke for me, but it's a way to kind of make light of the fact that when I was a kid, I was molested, and a lot of the behavior that I did was he made me suck his dick. And so for me, I'm like, I'm not doing that now. I got seniority. What the fuck I look like? But the reality is the same. That also goes for the same thing with getting my ass ate in a relationship. I'm not sucking nobody's dick that's just a hookup. If we're in a relationship and you're like, hey, again, it will never be Torrian like, oh, I want to suck your dick. Like, that's not going to happen. But again, if I know that you are a person who have told me from the get-go that you're a verse or that you're a verse top or whatever, and that you like you like to get your dick sucked, and that for you is like a trade-off to not fucking me, then again, that's a conversation that we can have. I'm not opposed to it. That's not something I'm like hands off. But again, you will never hear me say, hey, baby, let me come, babe, come, let me suck your dick. Like, that would never happen. I would never do that. And not because there's anything wrong with doing that, just because that's not my thing. I don't derive pleasure from doing that. Now, eating ass, I do that for me, like you said, then you will happen to get pleased by it. But that really is something that I do for myself. And
I am for all the smoke. Like, gag on it a little bit until I have that one tear. Spread your cheeks open, sucked. Like, everything is on the table for me, which is why I claim verse, even though I don't bottom that often.
Yes, it better be sloppy and wet, dripping down your mouth.
Sloppy.
Like, all of it. Who wants nice print? Oh
my God.
That's childish.
I'm going to tell you this story about these two tops that I know when we come back. We'll just take a break.
No. I can't. No hugs. My work ethic is above yours. You cannot fucking sit with me. Well, apparently you weren't on mute when Brandon came at you in that group chat, so apparently you did see it. How old are you? Why are you yelling? How old are you? Why are you yelling?
In a real tough, discussion right now. But hey, what's a show without drama, huh?
He's at work and he don't want to deal with y'all bullshit. Exactly what he said to me. You've been called out on that shit before. You be contradicting yourself. My thing is just take ownership of the shit that you do.
You get slapped. And you get slapped. You get slapped in front of him too, though. You get slapped for him too, though. You get slapped for him too, though, nigga.
Bitch. I want you to. I'm gonna knock you out. You better not swing. Bitch, stop playing on me, ho. Bitch, cause you doing that. You know you fucking wrong. You know I got attitude. Don't touch me. You are fuck you. Stupid ass.
Get in the conversation.
This comment says, I did a good job. It's time for a congratulatory ejaculation session.
Chat live on the show and get exclusive content.
The bottoms are going to eat me up for this in the chat.
Join the Dear Black Gay Men Insiders group on Facebook.
So let me tell you the story. So I know these two people. I'm not going to tell you what their names are, but I know these two people who both identify as total top, not intentional, not soft, total top. Mm-hmm. And both of them said they prefer neat head.
Okay.
Like they of course I don't want to yuck their yum, but I'm just like, what is the fun in that?
As for me in my house, like
I want to have to change the sheets after.
Period.
I need to be able to change the sheets.
Puddles on the carpet, on the hardwood floors, puddles like going down my leg. Like I need it all over your face, all down your like all of it. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So then when it comes to hooking up, because comparatively, compared between me and you do have tighter boundaries. So does that mean that you only hook up with bottoms who mirror whatever you're giving?
I hook up with whoever wants some dick at the moment that we connect. Period. I don't care about however you define yourself. Just be clear. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Are you down with that? And if you are, good. And if you're not, I'll find somebody else who is. There's so many. There's so many flavors. There's so many things out here. You will find somebody.
But I hear that a lot. But what do you mean? What are some of the things? Like, what is something that, because you said you don't suck dick unless you're in a relationship. I call that, this is what people told me that I am. They said that I am a slut with my dick, but I'm a romantic with my ass.
Oh, I'm a romantic slut with my dick, period.
It sounds like you're a slut with your dick, but you're a romantic with your mouth, asterisk, and a footnote.
Sure. I mean, because that's a part of my romance too. It's going to be an experience when you're with me. So it's not just the act for me. It's deeper than that for me. It's bigger than that for me, I should say.
Okay, so do you only date bottoms then?
No. In fact, I've only dated like total bottoms. I've only dated maybe 2 total bottoms that classified, like says that they are a bottom. Most of the people that I've dated, because of, at least before my growth, most of the people that I was attracted to were more masculine presenting, masculine presenting. And so for me, most of the people that I dated were like verse tops or verses. Yeah.
So, okay. So this is where it gets hairy for me. I get that as a person with agency and respecting the agency of others, you say, these are my boundaries. Do they work for you? Mm-hmm. But if you can be empathetic you are an empathetic person. Where is the equity in a verse person or verse anything, verse bottom, verse top dating you?
So the equity may not be in the sex. The equity may be in other places, in other areas of the relationship. And let's also be clear too, like that I'm a dope ass dude. Let's start there. Our conversations are going to be dope. Okay. Right? So it's not, what I bring to a table is more than just my sexual desire and my sexual expression. Right. And so for me, I'm a package deal. And that's why to one of your questions that you asked me off air of like, why am I single? Originally, it was because I felt that people love the thought of Torrian and being with Torrian, but the work of being with Torrian, people were like, nah, I don't want to do. Right. And the work for me is like, we're going to communicate. We're going to talk about emotions. We're going to talk about expressing how you feel and what's going on. Like for me, that's important. Right. And so there's a lot when we talk about equity. And let's also say this, that equity means I'm responding to who you are in front of me, not equality. So it sounds like your question really is steeped in equality. And the reality is in relationships, they're not equal. They will never be equal. They're equal.
Which is exactly why, I was intentional to say equity. Because if I am to give, because granted enough, short of sex, we still 2 men. This is one thing I believe wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. Aside from what we do as we are entangling, we are 2 men. So if I am sensitive and I need sensitivity, I should be able to get that from you. You are capable of that. Mm-hmm. The only time that there is distinction between what a top does and a bottom does as it pertains to dating is when we fucking. Because in every other instance, we are the same kind of people. Underneath it all, we still 2 niggas, right? And so I am curious if also the question was steeped in the fact that I do believe that there is a bigger sacrifice in bottoming than there is in topping. Okay. And so if I am to sacrifice in my head more so, because I am giving of my body, I am giving of a whole bunch of stuff that we don't have to get into because that gets all sciencey. But if I am doing those things, then how then do we even that playing field? Because in every other space in our relationship, potentially, we are going to be maybe not 50-50, but it'll even out.
And so, okay, so I'm gonna ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it with the preface that I am in no way promoting, heterosexuality or heterosexism, right? Like, for me, it's like, what then would be the equity in a guy and a girl? What then creates the equity? Right, but my point, the point of that is that when we talk about sexual desire, they may not always it may not always align in the position power, right? In the position dynamic. However, I'm also talking about pleasure. It's really what I think you're getting at the root of it, pleasure. So for me, I always going to make sure that you're pleased too. It's not just like, oh, because I'm a top, like I'm just focused on my pleasure and that's just it. Like, not at all. For me, it's also I want to know that you're pleased. That gets me off knowing that you're pleased as my partner. And so for me, it's just like equity. When I see equity, it's like, yeah, I may not be the strongest communicator, but that doesn't mean, but I may be the a stronger provider, or I may be a stronger intellectual. So it's like, when you talk about equity, it's really about how do you work together and cooperate together to make what you have and what you want work for the both of you. And so for me,
but that's exactly why. But now, T, that's exactly why I asked though. Do you just date bottoms then? Who can? Because if you compare it to straight people, in most straight relationships, short of pegging and fetishes and kinks, right? It is a man who is doing the fucking because he got the dick, and a woman who is getting fucked because she got the pussy.
Yeah.
That is an equitable connection for most straight people, I would imagine. To the same end, I would say that if you are a top, then the equitable decision would be to date bottoms and leave the versatility to people who have whose puzzle pieces fit together on that end. Would it not?
I think if we are attaching it to an identity potentially, but for me, sex is just about expression, what I express. And so I also have conversations upfront early, like, how you doing?
Okay.
Are you in therapy? What is your sexual expression? Those are my top 3 questions. Not always in that order.
That's a good 3.
But those are my top 3 questions. Right?
That's a very good 3. Are you in therapy? And what's your sexual expression? I'm gonna add that to my list. That's gonna be on the podcast tomorrow.
And so for me, it's like I want to talk through what pleases you, because I get to then decide whether I want to participate in that behavior or not, and you vice versa get to decide if you want to participate in what pleases me. And literally that's all that is. That is literally what is the definition and the parameters and the boundaries to which we conduct our sexual life. But that is different than every other piece and every other part of our lives. It's not the same. Which is why I think it's important that we detangle position from identity, because a lot of times I think, again, like as I started this conversation with the idea that because you are a top, you are supposed to present or show up in this way, or because you're a bottom, you're supposed to do it in this way. And the reality is all that does, at least for Torrian, is describe what Torrian likes to do in his bedroom, penetration wise, because let's also be clear that in of itself is not all that Torrian does. Torrian has his kinks and his fetishes and the things that he enjoy in the bedroom to spice it up and make it fun and enjoyable for both parties.
And I think that is the most interesting part as I am growing, as I'm maturing, because there was a time when I said I was a total bottom, don't touch my dick. Then there was another time where I grew up a little bit and I said I was a total top, don't touch my ass. I'm not sucking your dick. I'm not doing none of that. I was a boring top. My words, my identity. And now I think, and then there was a time where I became something in the middle.
Come on, something in the middle.
Because I don't know what to call it. Because, if I got an itch, scratch it.
Period.
Let's come. Just come. Why can't we just come? But then I will say that the upgrade that I'm in now, the season I'm in now, is I acknowledge that we can experience climax, not necessarily associated with ejaculation. That's the first thing.
Agreed.
And the second thing is that it doesn't always have to be penetrative to get there.
100%.
Like I like bondage. I like
man after my own heart.
About other things I like. I like a whole bunch of shit now. And it makes me excited.
Period.
Excited to do it.
Period. I agree wholeheartedly.
I think that's a good place to take another break. We'll be right back.
What up, though? The conversations stay lit on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Hook up, entanglement, situation, relationship, everything from dushing to dating.
A top verb, but I am not a top noun. I am a guru at first dates.
It's new every Wednesday. Subscribe now.
A couple episodes ago, I interviewed a whole panel of bottoms and asked them what they wish that tops understood. Mm-hmm. But today, since I'm talking to you, I want to live react to this YouTube video that I found. Is The Superman. He has a podcast with what's his name? He lives in DC. I can't call his name right now, but they have a podcast. He posted 5 things that tops want bottoms to know, and because I'm talking to a top, hopefully he's on to some shit. You ready for this, T?
Let's go.
Okay, here's the first one.
Went to the last top meeting, and it's 5 things that tops want bottoms to know. Are y'all ready? Rule number 1. Know the dick that you signed up for. You asked for 5 pictures of it. You asked for a video. You wanted to see demonstrations and everything like that. And now you get over to the top's place and you like, what is this? I can't take this. Hold on. Don't go so deep.
Have you experienced that? Is that a concern? Like people can't handle the dick when they get it in person?
So I
ask you this very interested because you are like 12 feet tall, so I can only imagine the stories that you could tell people.
This is where my empathetic piece of me comes in because I know that that's something that's going to happen. You can send all the pics, videos in the world, but like when you just don't know until you know. You know what I mean? You won't know until you get it. And also, let's be clear that I'm sure there's been people who has experienced big dicks and was like, this is trash, right? Or little dicks, medium dicks, and it's like, that was amazing. And so for me, it's like, maybe you can handle the size, but are you able to handle the stroke? That is something different. So
the experience.
Right. So I get the sentiment. For me, it's just like, I try my best to show grace. I'm patient, but I do think that there's a point where it's just like, my nigga, come on. Like everything, I can't even do shit without you. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ching, chang, walla, walla, fucking bing, bang. Like
this comment says, take it out, go slower. Take it out, go slower.
Hold on. Wait, with the hand. Wait.
And they push it. Oh God. I'd be like, come on, bro. Okay, so hold on.
What I will say really quickly is that sometimes that is a turn on for me. For me, sometimes it is a turn on. Sometimes.
This comment says, I feel like tops lose empathy for the bottom, especially when you've had a lot of talk and acted as if you were the king of taking dicks. Now, I will say that is true.
Don't talk shit. Don't talk shit.
Don't write a check. Don't let your mouth write a check your ass literally can't cash.
Literally, right.
Don't do that shit. And now I had this situation. Now I don't believe we talked like in the show last week. He talked about small dick kings. I think I'm a average dick king. So when you start running, I'm like, oh girl.
So I
you knew what you was getting yourself into.
I agree. So that's what I mean, that like maybe it's not the size, it's the stroke. Because I believe I've been told I have husband dick, right? And if I'm being completely honest, like, yes, I'm a top. Yes, I top. However, there are also things that I'm like, I've asked my doctor literally, like, how can I make my dick bigger? And I've had people that I've had, oh, absolutely. And I've had people that I had sex with are like, nigga, are you crazy? That like, you don't need a bigger dick. And I'm like, for you, I don't. Is
it because you're tall? Like you looking at your dick on your body?
Maybe, but I also think for me is just that because I'm with it all the time, that like, you know, you just normally
it gets smaller because you see
like.
it.
And so for me, I'm just like, I mean, that's just true shit. But I've never had a nigga tell me that they weren't pleased after sex with me or complain about the size of my dick. So I guess it doesn't matter what I think about it.
It's all in your head. It's all in your head. This comment says the stroke hits different. The people are going in for the bottom. Somebody said, man, move your hand.
You know, I try my best to be empathetic. I do. But it does come a point where it's just like, I'm not doing this. Like, we just might as well just jack off and be done with this.
This one says, husband dick will keep the lights on.
My lights are always on.
Light bills stay paid. Light bills stay paid. Okay. I'm getting too excited. Let's go to the next one. Oh my God, this is gonna be good. Okay, let's go to
rule number 2. Know that when I'm talking to you, when we're talking to you on Jacques, BGC, Christian Mingle, Black Planet, MySpace, Facebook, whatever we're talking on, if we're talking about sex, then my dick is hard right now. So no, we're not talking about having sex tomorrow, 3 weeks from now.
Biggest pet peeve. Like, you slid in my DMs, bro, and and now I gotta wait 5 hours so your water can be clear.
Now, what I will say, Jay, though, is that depending on what is given, I may set that up for the time that you have available. But that still doesn't mean that in the moment, that's not what I'm still looking and still going to get what I'm looking for in that moment, if that's what I'm looking for. But I agree. I feel like
this comment is my best friend. It says Facebook user, but I really feel like that's my best friend. And I can hear him saying, oh, girl.
Okay.
I can hear it.
Oh, girl.
But this is the reason why it's frustrating to me. It is frustrating to me because it's one thing if, like, I know you, if we've connected a couple times before, if there is a conversation or a relationship between us, even if we just, you know, hooked up a couple times, I'm a lot more sensitive to that. But if you hitting me up, don't know me from Adam, and you sliding in my DMs talking about I'm horny, but it's going to take me 3 hours. That's something different. That's, again, don't let your mouth write a check your ass can't cash right now, bro. I ain't horny in 3 hours. And if y'all really know me, I'm gonna be sleeping 3 hours. Let my best friend tell it. So I'm like, girl, get your shit together, Carol. But
no, I agree. I agree. I agree with that. Now, if you hit me up, you know, looking, you need to be looking now. And
now,
that's just that, like, now. And also, I think it also depends on the time frame too. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like if it's like 30 minutes, an hour, maybe, but maybe fix that box before message. Period. Prepare. Be ready.
Before you message that man.
Be ready.
But again, I think you're about to say exactly what I'm thinking, because if I hit you up, I am sensitive to the fact that it takes time to get prepared to do what we're about to do. I totally get that. Yeah. And if I commit to it, short of falling asleep, I'm going to follow through. So if you say it's going to take an hour, I'll be ready in an hour. But if you say it's going to take an hour and it really takes 2, I'm going to sleep.
And let me
also
probably
done jacked off twice by then.
Okay. let me also say this too, is that, and you know, really be good. I am also the person that I love spontaneous sex. So when I want it, I want it. And so if you're not prepared, that's something that I am like, if it happens, it happens. But I want it when I want it. So that's the other part for me that I'm like, I really want us in our community to stop shaming or stigmatizing bottoms or people who are penetrated from, like, you know, painting. Like,
Wait, hold on. The comment. We got to read this comment, because it says, you will not throw me and my good sisters to the wind like this.
No, you will not.
I promise. I'm not trying to throw the girls to the wind, but I will say, to your point, what you just said, Torrian, most of the people that I know that top, and most of us, in my experience, enjoy some type of spontaneity in sex. The people who have real problem with, I'll call it accidents to that end. With an accident, bottoms.
But I think a part of that is our culture, our community. We've made it a problem. We've like literally stigmatized people for it. We've like, people have been blasted. We just had somebody be blasted the last month about it. And it's like,
I think we stigmatize everything about bottomings. You got to have crystal clear water. You can't be too masculine. You can't be too feminine. You can't be too this, too that. I think that we throw bottoms under the bus on every turn. Bottoms and men who bottom on every turn. And so, somebody said in the comments real early that you don't give soft top, you give conscious top. But I think the more conscious that we are as a culture, top, bottom, or otherwise, the less we're going to care about these small details, like,
man, listen,
how big your dick is, or you know, can we just come? Let's just come.
If people just understand anatomy, like you're fucking an ass that like its function is to do this thing. And so it's just like, and let's also be clear too, that there are times when a person could have legitimately douched and clinked themselves out and the water is clear. And then you are like stroking and you doing all of the things. And it's like, an accident still happens. It's like, get over it. It is what it is. Let's go take a shower.
Get over it.
Shower and come back at it.
Let's go take a shower and do whatever we gotta do. Because this is one thing I do think is that for conscious tops and people who consciously top, at some point, sex becomes a team effort. That's why I think it's conscious. And we acknowledge that there is some give and take, some interplay, some negotiation in that. And I think my difficulty with like total tops is it feels like we never become the team in the process. That is, I think, what my difficulty is with a total top.
I will disagree with that because everything that you just said are things of how I navigate relationships with people.
But you ain't no total top. You said that yourself.
I am a total top. You ain't penetrating me. So what is total top? Because a person could potentially suck
all of that toxic shit you said at the top of the show.
Oh, okay, sure.
I don't like when you put total in front of shit. That takes it to a whole nother level. That ain't just talking about I don't get it in the booty. You just said I am a total top. You're not a total top. I don't think.
I didn't say total top. When I talk about me and I self-identify, I don't say I'm a total top. I say I am.
You just said you was a total top. No, you just said the word. Okay. I wish I could rewind the tape. Okay. I wish I could rewind the tape.
And even if I did, trust and believe that I personally do not consider myself a total top. I say I am a top. I don't even say I am a top. I top.
You say you top verb.
I top.
Not top now.
Correct. I am not the stereotypical understanding in our community of a top.
Okay. And all right. I'll give you that one. Let's move on to the next one.
Can we also say too that total top? What does total top mean? Let's come back to that. Let's go to the next one, but then come back to what the definition of total top is. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm always ready for the shit.
Rule number 3. Know that if you don't get a message from me, know that if you don't get a text message, an email, an IG direct message, that it's not that important all the time. You know, stop with this hitting people up saying, "Hey, stranger, haven't talked to you in a while."
I don't know about this one.
I don't
know about this one.
I say context is important, right? I think if it's someone that's just a hookup and it's always been defined as a hookup, I think there's some truth to what he's saying. I think outside of that, like if you're dating or you're getting to know somebody, I think that's a little bit different. That's totally different. So I don't agree with that in that context. But if it's straight,
we're on the same page. Let's go back to this total top jargon. Yes. I believe this is what I meant when I said total top. And for clarity, I have been backed up in the comments because you did say, okay, I am a total top.
Fair.
Even though you probably mean something different than what I'm thinking.
Maybe I'm using y'all language for the audience and for y'all, and not language that I use. Y'all as people who use total top language, because I genuinely do not typically use total top language. I don't ever describe myself as a total top.
Okay. But when I think total top, different than top, different than verse top, different than any other adjective, any other clarifier. Right. Total top to me is they have these concepts around what masculinity and how to carry yourself, and you got to be tough and all these other things, not sensitive, not sensate, not empathetic. They want to fuck you. I think white people will call it like a power top. That to me is total top.
Got it. So my definition
is not enjoyable.
So when I hear total top, again, I don't associate identity, I associate behavior. So for me, total top just simply means that a person who doesn't get penetrated. That's it. I don't associate, when I think of position, I don't think of identity. For me, that's a behavior, not an identity. So when I say total top, I mean it in the context of like a person who does not get penetrated. Period. Point blank.
Okay. I can respect that. When I said it just a second ago, I meant something totally different. So to what you just said, okay, I see how you would say you're a total top. Totally see that. You don't get the dick in the booty.
No.
In a dating situation, other things can go near the booty.
Other things are negotiable. Besides
negotiable.
Yes, negotiable.
What is it about getting some dick that just turns you off? I'm really curious about that.
I want to be, so it's not like I've never done it before, right? So let me say that. It just doesn't, I would say this. The last time that I got penis voluntarily was I rolled over and cried myself to sleep. And that was because it had nothing to do with pleasure or pain or anything like that.
Is this before or after?
Before or after what?
Like you rolled over and cried yourself to sleep after you got some dick or before?
After.
Okay.
And for me, what I realized after, because, you know, I believe in therapy. I'm a person who's very introspective. So I went to my therapist and I was like, hey, what the fuck is happening? Like this happened and this is my response to it. And what he said to me was that like, what he said to me was that subconsciously I literally went against something of who I am, and that's why that response was what it was. And so for me, I made a decision right then and there that I will cooperate on many different things, but I am clear that sexually penetration is not something that I enjoy, is not something for me, and so I'm not going to engage in it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can respect that you. One thing that I absolutely respect about people who top, regardless of their identification, is if you tried it before. Like, I cannot respect somebody who's like, I never did it, never gonna do it, never want to. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. How do you know that you like anything unless you try it once?
I was in a relationship.
Even if they just put the head in, you know?
I was in a relationship with someone and I was the relationship was horrible, trash. But I did it. I felt like I needed to do something to make him love me or give me what I needed that he wasn't giving me. And so I said to myself, well, Torrian, if you give this one thing to him, maybe he will see that as a sacrifice and decide to give you what you need. And that just didn't happen. Wasn't a thing. And so from that moment on, I never, which is why I don't care how much I love you or how much in love with you I am not going to compromise who I am authentically as a person for someone else. I'm just not doing it.
Are you open to, well, what if you evolve into someone who desires that in the future? Is that even a possibility? Are you open to that?
I'm not a fortune teller, so I don't know. I can't say what that is. However, I only can address what's in the now, which is why when I have these conversations and getting to know people, I'm always saying that like there can't be this expectation that like, oh, I'll love him, and when he falls in love with me, that this will change, because you're gonna find yourself, you may end up finding yourself disappointed and resenting me because you thought it was going to. And that's the other part. That's another part. That's another reason why a lot of my relationships have not worked, because down the line they're like, oh, well, I really am a verse. Or I really am a verse top. And I'm like, well, that's not what you said to me when we first started talking. And so I'm a Virgo, and as a Virgo, we believe in definition. We believe in things being defined and clear.
And we don't fucking like last minute changes of plans.
Don't. And so when things are clear, things are clear, and we set those things, and that's the parameters in which we operate. And if stuff evolves, cool. We can, that's a conversation. But there should be no expectation that, oh yeah, it's okay right now, but because I love you, you'll eventually change. Like, no. That may not happen. It may happen, but it may not happen.
Okay, there are 2 more points on the 5 things that tops want bottoms to know. We ain't got time to get to them. Let's take a break.
Get in the conversation.
This comment says, I did a good job. It's time for a congratulatory ejaculation session.
Chat live on the show and get exclusive content.
The bottoms are going to eat me up for this in the chat.
Join the Dear Black Gay Men Insiders group on Facebook.
Every episode of Dear Black Gay Men Live, I ask my guests a question from tonight's conversation cards. Tonight's conversation cards are the question deck that invoke deep, stimulating, and tantalizing conversation. It's perfect to set the atmosphere for a first date. I used them on my last first date, interestingly enough, for a third date, or even when you're already in a relationship. T.
What's up? I got 2 of these, by the way.
Since I'm the host, and I'm the nosy bitch from Dallas, I'm going to ask you the question from Couples Intimate Sex Edition deck. You ready?
Okay, let's go.
This one says, what 3 things could I do during sex every time to leave you satisfied?
Oh, be verbal. Suck my dick disgustingly. And kiss. I am a huge kisser. So if those 3 things right there,
because you got some big fucking lips, honey,
and they soft and pink too. But yeah, you do those 3 things, we got it made.
This comment says, it's the disgustingly for me.
Oh, yes.
That's it.
Don't be, and look at me while you're doing it too. Look up at me. And period.
Are you like eye contact when you get hit?
Oh, absolutely. And when absolutely look into my eyes, because I'm gonna look in yours. Oh yeah.
Could any one of those things leave you fulfilled by themselves? Like a disgusting head to completion, or a makeout session?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. For me, it's not always about a nut. Like there are times where, especially if I'm with my partner, where I don't want to have penetration. I legitimately just want to eat your ass until I'm good and full and satisfied, and be completely good with that.
This comment says eyes watering, nose running.
When gagging, like you about to throw up, all of it.
When you suck dick so good that you gotta belch a little bit, that does it for me.
Oh yes.
That little belch. Oh my God, that'll change your atmosphere.
It will change.
It'll change your fucking atmosphere.
100%.
This one says it's the look up for me.
Oh yes, look up and open your mouth. Let me spit in it too. Oh, this is
you're nasty like that, right?
This is why I say I don't know how boring tops y'all been with, but oh yeah, it's a belly full of happiness and gladness and joy. Black boy joy. 100%.
But I will say it's not. Again, for me, it's the total top is boring as fuck.
Come on
nasty
over to
top is
my
a different.
Oh yes,
nasty top. Like
Listen.
my best friend and I, we say if we gonna fuck, you got to be just a little bit filthy.
Oh,
like I need to want to take a shower afterwards, and not just because you came on my chest or something.
Sometimes I feel disgusting when I'm done. Like, oh shit. Tori,
but you know the best thing is when you feel disgusting, but you lay there in it anyway. Oh my God, that's the best feeling to it. When you feel like shit sticking to stuff, it's a wet spot somewhere, but you lay there just for us, even if it's just for 30 minutes.
I'll shower in the morning. It's all right.
The water's still gonna be hot later. The water gonna be hot later.
It's all right. I'm that kind of I'm also a voyeur, so I love watching my partner play with toys or satisfy themselves or bring the toys in the bedroom. It's nothing like using a toy and me penetrating you both at the same time and pleasing you and teasing you. Like what? Oh yeah, no. We gonna have a good time.
Now, one thing I will say, what I have come to realize is I'm an exhibitionist, so I like public, I like a whole bunch of different things. But what I really have come to appreciate is like you do something out in public in my case with somebody that's special to me, and then you come home and you still smell just a little bit like them. I don't have a beard, but I could just imagine if I had a beard and you take a random whiff and you just smell it. God, I could come right now.
I am leaning into my being more into scents, and so like smelling things and like it's just yes indeed.
Yes indeed.
And keep your
indeed.
And also men in sexy underwear. And I don't care masculine, feminine. I don't care. A black man in some sexy underwear. Let me explain something to you. Just pull them. I will pull them bitches right to the side and then get the juices on them. And then I'm going to pull them off you and then smell them a little bit while I'm in. I'm sorry.
You one of those. Woo. See, interestingly enough,
let me stop.
I have just gotten into sexy underwear myself. Like wearing it for me.
What?
Now that my ass is big. Now that my ass is big. I
mean, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but since you brought it up, them army fatigues, babe, they hugging you real nice, sir.
So for everybody else, like I had to walk around this room before we started filming, and he saw, like, I literally had to put on pants because I was like, how am I going to get from here to where I got to go and not give you like a full ass shot? Needless to say, it's a thing.
It's a thing. Baby, that gym is
Torrian, I really did think this conversation was going to go a totally different direction, but I'm so glad it went here.
I'm glad I didn't have expectations for it. I just knew that I knew it was going to be a fun time. I don't know what we were going to discuss, but I knew it was going to be a good time.
Well, thank you for coming on. This has been great.
Thank you.
Of course. So as we close, one thing that I know, and hopefully y'all got this from the conversation, I know sex. Black gay men have better, bigger, more passionate sex than anybody on the planet. Not because we're better at it, even though we are, but because we are the only group of people that both or all the people involved are using sex, their connection with the people in the room, either knowingly or unknowingly, to escape the same cultural battles. Straight people can't say that. It's a man and a woman. Interracial couples can't say that. It's black and whatever else. Nobody on the planet knows the plight of black men like another black man. We dressed up this conversation in sexual roles, but the root of it, the through line in everything Tori and I discussed, was one simple fact. One black man seeing, connecting, loving, embracing another black man as only we can. And the less we other our fellow black men, black gay men, the more we realize that underneath the titles, underneath the positions, underneath the identities, we're all the same thing. Tyree Nichols died at the hands of men who enrolled in a broken system and forgot that underneath their badges, underneath their vests, underneath their guns, they are Tyree Nichols too. So, dear black gay men, I'm not just my brother's keeper. I am my brother.